Well, many of us all know Abel, being the second son of Adam and Eve and also the younger brother to Cain. Well, let us turn to Genesis 4 and verse 2 so that we can learn just a little bit more about him and how he later exercised faith. That's Genesis 4 and verse 2. Later she again gave birth to his brother Abel. Abel became a shepherd of the flock, but Cain became a cultivator of the ground. So that we can see here that Abel being the herder of the sheep. So some time went by, Abel and his brother Cain made an offering to Jehovah. They each brought what they had, Cain his produce, and Abel the firstlings of his flock, even the very fat of them. They both believed in God, definitely. They learned about him from his parents, and that's why they even understood the situation, why they were not allowed in the garden, and why they couldn't enter into it. And they made these offerings because they recognized their alien state, and Abel had that desire to have God's favor. So let's again turn in our Bibles to James 2 and verse 26. Indeed, just as a body without spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. So we can see here that offering, Abel exercised his faith by his works. So he gave that offering to Jehovah, he gave his most, and he also did that with the right heart attitude as well. We all know that Abel had knowledge of that promise, the promised seed, and he may have given it much thought about that promise and believed that the blood would have to be shed and that someone would be bruised in the heel, so that mankind might be uplifted from that imperfect state because of the rebellion of his parents. And I like how it brought out in the Insight book. It says, well, it cannot be said that Abel had foreknowledge of the eventual outworkings of the divine promise at Genesis 3:15, the promised seed, but it says he likely had given it much thought. So although he didn't know the actual outcomings of this divine prophecy, he still put faith in it, and as it brought out in, that the blood would have to be shed. So that's why he did that sacrifice, and that's why his sacrifice was appropriate and was approved by Jehovah. Let us turn to one final scripture in Hebrews 11:4. Hebrews 11, verse 4. By faith, Abel offered God a sacrifice of greater worth than of Cain, and through that faith he received the witness that he was righteous. For God approved his gifts, and although he died, he speaks through his faith. So through that faith he received the witness and his righteousness. So he was approved by God. And by his example, we can see that his faith still speaks to us today.